Hi everyone, hope you are doing good. Please stay home and stay safe. Today we're gonna see Business Marketing Unit 2. Let's get into the video now. The first one we're gonna see buyer seller relationship. Meaning, actually, what is buyer? The one who buys goods from the seller. So, who's seller? The one who sell or selling goods or services to the buyer. So we're gonna see what's the relationship they both have. Okay, so buyers and sellers in mature industrial markets can turn single transaction into long-term beneficial relationship because the seller in a particular is understand pattern, investment and reward effectively manage the process that defines the dynamics of buyer-seller evaluation. So the buyer is the person or organization that purchases products from the suppliers, one who sells the product, seller. A buyer could be the manufacturer purchasing the raw material, a customer buying finished product from the retailer. So the relationship between the buyer and seller can be either short term or a long term. Short term means one off or a low commitment purchase. Long term means involving the regular purchase based on established agreement. So both short term and long term buyer and seller have advantage and disadvantages. The short term relation can be useful when a degree of flexibility is required. So for example, short term agreements give the buyer option to switch the suppliers to the next purchase because if he is not satisfied with the first purchase, he will shift the purchase to the next organization. So this may be a disadvantage in a short term. And short term agreements also have their generally provide little scope of payment for a order flexibility. For example, new supplier on a short term agreement will want a defined order or a prompt the payment. So there is no trust build up with the buyer and seller over a time between the parties. So building the buyer and seller relations, the opportunity to share market information is also reduced. So there may be advantage that come as a result of building strong buyer and seller over a period of a time. So there may be a more scope for discounts after the relationship is established, and there may be a more flexibility in the timing of payments. So trust between the buyer and seller is developed over time. This may allow the sharing information, means forecast knowledge and customer between the buyer and seller. So next we're gonna see buyer seller relationship interaction. What is interaction? Without interaction they can't do anything because the interaction may be in a speech by telephone or a email or a making some agreements or a fax. The interaction should be compulsory to make a buying and selling process. So the most important part of the buyer and seller relationship is the interaction between the representative of the buying organization, means buyer, and the representative of the seller organization, means sales or representative or sales seller. There are many other persons from the both organization involved in relationship, but the basic building block of the relationship is based on buyer and sales representative interaction. So when the buyer and sales representative meet, the nature of their interaction depend upon their roles and behavior and perceptions. Next we're going to see framework of buyer seller interaction. So what is a framework? Means both the style and content of the buyer seller communication are determined by a number of personal and organizational and product related factors. For example, the person lifestyle and background will often determine the style of the communication of the buyer or the seller chooses the engage in. So similarly, organizational training and orientation will be also mold the buyer or a seller with respect of style of communication. Finally, the content of communication is likely to be determined by product related variables such as market motives, buyer and sales plans, technology, and competitive structure of industry. The next we're going to see Types of utility. What is utility? Means business marketing utilities are elements needed for an exchange or a purchase to take place between your company and your business customers. So there are the first one, functional utility. Functional utility is nothing. It represents product utility which is strictly limited to its performance, which it defines the purpose of its existence and classification as a type of goods or services. For example, the functional utility associated with an instant breakfast, which should be in a taste, convenient, and a nutrition and calories too. So it is an instant one which is limited to its performance. So it is presumed to be a complex function of positive and negative expectation. So there may be a positive and also negative on multi-attribute profiles. We treat a functional utility as one dimension of product utility and ignore for a moment the question of its own dimensional. And the next one is social organizational utility. Means a product or a service acquires social organization. Means imaginary is independent of its performance functional utility. This is due to its consistent identification with a selective set of socio-economic demographic organization types, such as organizational bias tend to impute certain utilities in the products and services, producing imaginary or a stereotype. This should be in an imaginary social organizational level. In this is not surprising in a view of fact that there is exist an organizational satisfaction of people working in an organization comparable to social of household based on organizational structure and hierarchy on power distribution. So the next one is situational utility, which means a product utility which is derived from the existence of set of situations or circumstances. So the product and services has no independent utility, will not be offered bought without the presence of circumstances, and this is the often strong among those products and services which are consumed on rather than continuous basis. So they will buy or make a purchase continuous basis for the utility for the situational base. So utilization of the services priced means many of the capital expenditure items are highly specialized professional skills have greater degree of situational utility. So it is extremely important to identify situations and activities which add to the utility of the product and service. So the next, emotional utility. Emotional is a strong emotive feelings such as uh, respect, anger, fear, love, hate, and all it associates with some other objects, events, and individuals and organizations. So emotional utility plays emotions mainly. Strong emotive feelings, therefore, generalized to the product or services, resulting in a different types of utility. So utility. The next one we're gonna see is curiosity utility. Curiosity means the both household or organizational products and services is related to novelty, curiosity, exploratory needs. So based on the assumption, then constantly seeks out new, different things due to either satisfaction with existing behavior or due to boredom inherent. So these products and services are both offered and sold largely due to their novelty and to satisfy a person's curiosity level. They have a very short life cycle and often degenerate as fads or fashions. And the next one is relationship marketing. The first one is meaning. So it is a strategy designed to foster customer loyalty, interaction, and long-term engagement. So without relationship, they can't do the market level. So the customer relationship management is main thing. Approach a focus more on customer retention than customer acquisition. So it is designed to develop a strong connection with customers by providing them with information directly to their needs and interest by the promoting upon communication. By communication, they are promoting the relationship with the customers. So this approach often results in increase the word of mouth activity, which repeats business and willingness on the customer's part to provide information to the organization. This market contracts with transactional marketing, means an approach that focuses in increasing number of individual sales. The most organizations combine elements of both relationship and transaction marketing strategies. So it is emerging as a new, however, relationship oriented marketing practices date back to the pre industrial era. So, the history of marketing practices and illustrate how the advent of mass production, the emerge of middlemen, and separation of the So, mainly, the history of marketing practices and illustrate how the advent of mass production, that emergence of middlemen and separation of producer from the customers in the industrial era led to the transactional focus on marketing. So now, due to technological advances, direct marketing is staging a comeback leading to a relationship orientation. Why? With the evaluation of relationship marketing, the prominent exchange paradigm of marketing will be insufficient to explain the growing marketing of collaborative involvement of customers in the production process. So next we're going to see the importance of customer service. The first one is influencer marketing. Influencer marketing means a modern take on affiliate marketing. So means influencer marketing financially incentives individual with a large captive followings on specific niches, empowering them to drive awareness to revenue for brands. So by brands, they are influencing the marketing. The next one is partner marketing. Partner means the paying commission or a fee to the companies such as a distributor, reseller, agencies, and the third party of the firm to promote a leads and sales to get a profit. The next one is employee advocacy, means the self promotion of a business by its team to generate positive exposure to raise awareness for their brands. And the next one, referral marketing, means the practice of using rewards by rewards and to motivate passionate advocates and customers to directly refer their network to brands. And the next one, affiliate marketing, means the transaction between a company and an entity with a passive, financially driven relationship where the business receives customers or leads in exchange for monetary incentives. By monetary incentives, they are renewing. And then next, we move on to sales presentation. Sales presentation means what do you mean by sales? So if we want to sell something, if we want to selling some new product, means we have to give the presentation to the buyer. Means if it is a single seller or a single buyer, there is no issues. It is based on a company organization basis. So we have to show our presentation. We have to show our interest. We have to catch their imaginary. Sorry, we have to catch their wish list or a needs. What type of things they needed, and also we have to present the keynotes by using their interest. So first one we're going to see what is sales presentation. So means it is a pre-arranged and usually formal meeting held to the customer's place or a hotel where the product is presented to prospective customers who have come to see the sales pitch. It will often include the demonstration of the product. The next one, tips and techniques. Means even if the prospect doesn't buy from you right now, the high quality presentation will definitely be remembered in a positive light, because this might mean referral buyer later. Also, the quality of the presentation will impact how your boss or any other colleagues view you and your abilities. This may affect the future assignments of your choice and even your promotion prospects. The first we have to see the first tips and techniques. Under this, make the presentation relevant to the prospects. Why it should be relevant? If it is a relevant, we can reach the buyer's interest. So we can gain or we can get their interest. So we have to our presentation should be in a relevant basis in the prospects. So one of the most common mistakes people make when they are discussing their products or services is to use a generic presentation. So they say the same thing in every presentation, hope that something in their presentation will appeal the prospective customer. So we have to show exactly how your product and services solve their specific problem. This means that it is a critical to ask your prospects prompting questions before you start talking about your company. The second one is create a connection between your product service and the prospects. They have to create a connection between the product service and the prospects. In the presentation, the prospective client tried to prepare a sample of the product they would eventually use. So after a preliminary discussion only, hand your prospects to the item they will be using instead of telling them about the item. So place it in their hands to see the exactly what the finished product looks like, so they are able to examine it in detail. So they are then able to ask questions to see how their organization would use it in their environment. So remember to discuss the benefits of your products, not the features. Tell your customers what they'll get by using your product versus your competitors. The next one, get to the point. Yes, we have to do the presentation by the points. We have to make the relevant informations. We have to give the by the interest. So we have to get to the point. So today's business people are far too busy to listen the long-winded discussions. Know what your key points are. Learn how to make them quickly. So don't bore your customers with the irrelevant details. Make sure you know what key points you want to discuss, or practice verbalizing them before you meet with your prospects. And the next one is be animated. Yeah, the majority of a sales presentation are boring or unimaginative. So if you really want to stand out from the crowd, make sure you demonstrate enthusiasm and energy. Use your voice more effectively and vary your intonation. A common mistake made when people talk about the product with which they are very familiar is to speak in a monotone voice. Yes, this causes other person too quickly to lose interest in your presentation. So record your presentation. This will allow you to hear exactly what you sound like as you discuss your product. Then use a physical demonstration. Means a great technique is used to a whiteboard or a flip chart in the prospect's boardroom during the presentation. Instead of telling the client what you can do or a stand up or a deliver a short presentation using the whiteboard or a flip chart in the prospect's boardroom. So this unusual approach never fails to create impact with the customers, but ensure that your writing is clear, legible, and that you draw pictures and illustrate that can impress the client with their level of proficiency. Means use a physical demonstration. And the next one is develop a framework. So means just as a writers develop an outline for an article or a storybook. So it is critical for you to develop a framework. This framework relates to the sections that you will be presenting to your prospect. The following framework works well if you have about 45 minutes to present. So you can reduce or increase the amount of time around each section, but spend most of the total time talking and asking questions about them and getting them to tell you what is important to their organization. So next we move on. Negotiation. What is negotiation? So first we're going to see the meaning of negotiation. It is a strategic discussion that resolves an issue in the way that both parties find acceptable. In a negotiation, each party tries to persuade to the other to agree with his point of view. In advance of the negotiation, participants learn as much as possible about the other party's position and what the strengths and weaknesses of the position and prepare to defend their positions, counter the arguments to the other party. So many offers that the people assume to the firm and final or actual flexible. For example, negotiation can be used to reduce the debts, lower the sales price of the house, to get a better deal on a car, and to improve the conditions of the contract. So it is an important skill when accepting a new job. The employer first compensation offer is not a company's best offer. The company can negotiate for higher pay, so more vacation time, better retirement benefits, and so on. Negotiating the job offer is particularly important because all future increases in compensation will be based on the initial offers. So next we're going to see sales negotiation. Sales negotiation nothing but a process that involves the deliberation of all details necessary successful complete a sale. So type of negotiation means there is a more type of negotiation. Salesperson engage directly with the customers, assessing the needs of the client, pointing to the advantages the customer stands to gain, and helping the customer see how purchase of the goods or services offered would be the wise decision. So the ultimate goal of a sales negotiation is to earn the business of the customer, satisfying the expectations of the customers to the point that he or she will be willing to consider making a future purchases of the goods and services offered and complete the sale with the terms and conditions that are considered beneficial to all parties involved. So it is important to note that a sales negotiation can be very formal process that is carefully crafted, or it can occur in a situation that can place unexpectedly. So it has a phase of the sales process will rely on the use of few carefully employed strategies. For example, sales negotiation may follow for formal presentation to the potential customers, though the presentation may include any number of visual ads. It include video streamed over an internet connections. Next we move on how to negotiate a sale. The first one we're going to see, before negotiate begins, we have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself, aim to appear keen to the deal but not desperate. The second one, clarify your objectives. We have to clarify our objectives, right? What the price and volume and quick sale. The important deal is to be you. Third one, find out what the customer wants. So we have to find the features and extras to the value. What are their priorities, prices, services, and delivery. Fourth one, research the customer's position. We have to research them. How urgently they need your product, what they can afford, and what alternative the competition is offering. The next one is assess the value of you offering to the customers. So what benefits it offers, what problems it solves for them. The next one is identify the strengths and weakness in your proposal and plan your strategy, which will have to aim to reach a deal with which suit the customers as well. And the next one, decide what could be negotiable. So try to identify concessions which would cost you little but which the customer would value. And the next one, consider the potential impact on other deals and other customers of any concession you make. Next point, clarify your terms and conditions before we buy, before we sell. Okay, so terms and conditions from the start of the negotiation. The next point, pitch your opening price high. Explain how the value in what you are offering justifies the price. And then last one, we have to agree what the negotiating points are. The next topic we see reciprocity. Reciprocity is nothing being friendly. So rewarding kind actions with positive actions. So as a social construct, reciprocity means that is response to friendly actions. People are frequently much nicer and much more cooperative than predicted by self-interest models. So it develops into a good enough relationship, sometimes without participants knowing that is what they are doing. With awareness, it can become a robust, healthy feature of the relationship. So it requires people to be invested in the relationship. If it is an important enough to them, partners will be emotionally invested in it to work at the building, maintaining it. Commitment is sustained through the improvement of reward cost balance in relationship. The most useful investments are those that can tap into the what partner has contributed emotionally. Passion is the vital condition with a healthy relationship. So, which recipro rep, sorry. So, reciprocity means nothing love one emotional contribution or behavioral investments. It means a friendly action. People are frequently much nicer and much more cooperative. And the next, in this, endorsement of the product and services are one of the strongest sale tools available because people are more receptive to the recommendations that are made by a person that they have the relationship with than expensive promotion. So start building a reciprocal business relationship with the small projects that are easy to manage without a huge time investment. Make sure that you involve all the individuals that will be affected by the project or be called in to participate to make a project a success. And we're going to see the tips for reciprocity. Already we have seen what is reciprocity. It means a friendly action, friendly moving. The tips for reciprocity means the concept of reciprocity has been around the millions of years. So it is a behavioral pattern that has helped us survive as a human thing. So I didn't give this tips for reciprocity in this notes. So please note down if you are taking notes. The first one is offer something first. Because rather than publishing an ad and hoping that your target audience will feel compelled to make a purchase, offer them soothing something for a free first. So we have to give the free samples to get a good feedback, to get a feedback from the customers. The second one, make customers feel special. We have to make the customers feel special by using our products. So before you go out advertising your free samples with the expectation the customers will come to your online shop in droves, take some time to make your customers feel special. You can do this by sending personalized note or by letting them choose their free reward, by giving them little extra attention or a freedom to choose. The third one is help the customer outside of the store. So because a part of a reason why the reciprocity principle works means that you are simply doing a good deed without the expectation that the favor will be returned. Sure, your good deed can be influence behavior and help establish long-term relationship with the customer so they continue to shop at your store for years to come. But the initial offer should be given without anything expected in return. Why? They have to give the it establishes trust between you and the customers. So if you give the free samples at a first, you will gain the customers year by year. He used to buy the products year by year with you. So we have to give the free samples at first to get a customer's value. So simple gesture provides you an opportunity to both showcase to expertise as well as the value that your business has to offer. And the fourth one is make it memorable. Though it may be tempting to offer something that it is a cheap and easy, such as free sample, in hopes of convincing your potential customers to eventually make a purchase, this is only thing to make a forgettable brand. Run an entire campaign on a social media or enlist the corporation of other brands to make it a fun or exciting offer. Then last one is keep the relationship going. So once the customer finally make the purchase, don't let the relationship end there. Instead, engage them in another social interaction, either by offering you another reward or sending them a personal thank you note. One easy tactic that is especially effective is to reward them for referring your business to others with referral candy. For example, you can offer a discount for every person your existing customers send to your shop. Building a long-term relationship with your customers is one of the best ways keep money flowing into your business month after month.